Well, hello everybody. It's Paul with Live for Moto, and this video I want to talk to you about some new tires. Stay tuned. Well, folks, at the end of an awesome summer of riding, the inevitable has happened, and that is that I have worn out a set of tires. After approximately 7,000 miles on the bike and seeing some pretty cool parts of the country, it was time to put new skins on the motorbike. So I did my research and I bought a set of MotoZ tires. Now, let me just tell you, when I buy a set of tires, I don't do it a conventional way. Most people, when they buy a set of tires, they will buy a matching set. So let's just use Continental TKC 70s, for example. Typically, you would buy a TKC 70 rear and a TKC 70 front. I do not do that, and I was advised by some friends, and I followed that advice to run a more aggressive tire on the front of the bike and a less aggressive tire on the rear. And this does a number of things for me. If you're someone like myself who has less comfort with the front end of the bike washing around on you, then a more aggressive front tire will be a better thing to have in loose gravel, which I ride a lot of. And I'm more comfortable with the back end of the bike moving around, so I feel that I need less traction in the rear. This does a couple of things. A less aggressive tire generally has a solid tread block through the center of the tire, giving it more life, more longevity. You can get more miles out of it. And we all know that the power is delivered to the rear tire, so it's the one that always wears down the quickest. However, on the front end, for me, I prefer having greater traction on the front end, and since the front tire lasts longer anyway, this makes for a better matchup in the longevity of your tires. Now, I had just used Continental Tires as an example a little earlier, and I did that with this intention. The last set of tires that I had on the motorcycle was a set of Continental tires. I was running a TKC 70 rear tire and a TKC 80 front tire. Obviously, the rear tire was less aggressive and the front tire was more aggressive. And I found that this combination worked very well for me in loose gravel and sandy situations. Now, I don't ride a lot of sand, but I ride a lot of gravel roads. And with a road racing background, I have the tendency of pushing tires a fair amount on asphalt. And I found that the combination of having a more aggressive but soft front tire and a less aggressive, more street-oriented rear tire worked really well for me. It was great advice that was given to me. Now, even though the Continental tires worked so well for me, even in the front end, when I pushed them a little bit on the asphalt, I was really impressed with how well that front tire, being as aggressive as it was, hooked up on the asphalt. But I wanted to try something else, and the reason that I wanted to do that was that despite the aggressive nature of a TKC 80 that on the front of the bike, I felt that there was still a little bit more traction that could be had. And I felt that way because of the size of the tread block. I felt that something with as much space in between, but maybe smaller tread blocks, might work a little bit better. So after a short amount of research, I had discovered the MotoZ Adventure tires. And while the front tire looked like exactly the right thing, I thought, gosh, I want something a little less aggressive than that on the rear. And that's when I had looked at the MotoZ GPS tire. And so that was the tire combination that I chose to install on my bike. Now, when I chose this set of tires, I could pretty much tell by looking at them that they were probably going to do pretty good in the dirt and sand and stuff like that. Where my biggest concern was whether or not the compound was going to be soft enough to be able to maintain good traction on the asphalt. And that was where the real test was going to come in for me, was whether or not these things could hold the road as well, if not better, than what the Continental tires did. So in the spirit of trying to keep this video short, I'll get right down to it. I am impressed with these tires. Now, while I cannot make a review on the longevity of how well they've lasted, as I only have a couple hundred miles on them currently, I can attest to this. When riding on the asphalt, these tires held the road every bit as good as the Continental tires did. Whether or not they'll do that over the life of the tire, I couldn't tell you as of yet, but they feel very confidence-inspiring, both front and rear. And once I get out in the dirt, I find the same thing. In fact, I find that the front tire for loose gravel situations maintains the road and even better than the TKC 80 did. My overall view of these tires so far, even in their new state, is that they are going to be a very good tire for the type of riding that I do. Now, when I finally put some serious wear to these tires, I'm going to do another review. Tires are something that affect us all, and they affect the pleasure or the lack thereof of our rides immensely. And so I feel that tire reviews are an important thing to do for people. And while I can't give you an end-all be-all review on the MotoZ tires or MotoZ tires, however you call them, at this point, I will be bringing one to you. Now, I live in the northern part of the United States, and winter has crept in on us, and so it'll be a while before I get a chance to really wear these tires down. But as time goes on and they do wear down, I will bring you another review. In short, I really like these tires so far. Have you run a set of MotoZ tires? If you have, please leave me a comment below. I would be interested in seeing your reviews as well. Folks, as always, thank you so much for watching, and remember, ride with a smile.